Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast. Today's a really interesting episode, and it's the start of a mini-series of British Firefighter Challenge episodes. The British Firefighter Challenge is a UK-based firefighter fitness challenge that simulates all of the operational duties of a firefighter attending an operational house fire and what's expected of them when they're trying to perform their role. Over the course of this mini-series, you'll hear lots of little episodes dropping throughout the next sort of 8 and 9 months. John Gregory and Chris Trendwich come on the podcast today to talk about how the British Firefighter Challenge team are getting ready for their competition in 2021. So we're going to hear from the organisers, we're going to have some sponsors on, we're going to hear from athletes past and present. You're going to get the inside information on some training tips, on how to prepare yourself to perform at your absolute peak when 2021 British Firefighter Challenge rolls around. Fantastic episode full of so much banter. We talk about training tips, we talk about how experiences went in the past, we talk about how the whole thing got started. Chris shares some fantastic charity work that he's doing, and there's so much more in this episode as well. Today's episode is sponsored by the fantastic William Wood watches. I have had my Valiant collection William Wood watch for well over a year now, and I absolutely love it. Why do I love it? Helps me feel like I have the spirit of the fire service with me everywhere I go. Plus, it's actually a really nice watch. You know, it's nice, and it's got a good bit of weight to it. It feels really reliable. I've never had it fail me. I wear it on operational duties. I wear it training in the gym. I wear it getting in the ice bath. I wear it pretty much everywhere. You know, there's no reason for me to take it off. What I really love about my watch, and I know this is the same with all of them, is that there's no other one like my watch. Do you know what I mean? The red strap that I've got on mine, it's got markings on it that will have come from, you know, an operational incident at some point, because the hose is 100% recycled. So it's been cut down from hose that's been out on a road traffic collision somewhere or in a house fire, and it's got its very specific markings which are unique to my strap. Head over to WilliamWoodWatches.com and check out their beautiful collection right now. So without further ado, let's jump in there with John and Chris. This is a fantastic start to our British Firefighter Challenge mini-series. You're really going to enjoy these ones, guys. There's so much laughter, there's so much banter in these, poking fun at everybody, myself, John, Chris, little experiences that we've seen through our competitions, traveling, all over the world these guys have gone. It's a really fantastic story, and there's a lot of takeaways as well. If you want to get into the competitions, if you've seen some stuff on the British Firefighter Challenge website or the social media platforms and you want to get involved, there's some great training tips here. You'll be really surprised at how open and honest these guys are, and I can't wait for more episodes to be rolling out with the British Firefighter Challenge team. So let's jump in there with John and Chris, and I'll see you on the other side. Chris, John, welcome to the Firefighters Podcast. How are we doing, boys?
Really well, thank you. Yourself?
Magic. John, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing prepping for next year?
We're getting there. We're busy. Yeah, good, thank you.
So this year for British Firefighter Challenge, I mean, first and foremost, we spoke to a little bit about different athletes all over the world, and obviously we've had a few BFC previous athletes on. But for anybody that doesn't know what the hell it is, Chris, what is a British Firefighter Challenge?
Well, I suppose the best way to describe it would be the ultimate firefighter competition, really. It's
the ultimate one?
The ultimate one.
There's some big ones out there across the world. It's a hell of a statement, come on.
Yeah, there is, but none of them are as long as ours or as arduous. Ours really represents what firefighters do when they're tipping up to doing a rescue. So we combine all the main sort of elements of a firefighter rescue with stair running, running our hose, making hose up, dragging casualties, all those sort of things. So it really does capture all the aspects of what a person's report rescue would be.
One of the questions that I've had from a few people when they've seen sort of your videos, and John, obviously you've done some demos of the stuff like that, they were always like, what's the hammer one? How does that simulate anything that's going on in a fire? When do you hammer a box? What's that one replicating, Chris?
Yeah, I don't want to say it's more of a hammer in a box, whereas it's more of like a door entry. That's the best way to describe it. It's quite difficult to replicate a door entry procedure. So I think the forced entry machine kind of replicates the amount of bashing that you need to do to get in a door.
So how many years have we been doing it now, John?
2016.
2016, really? Crikey. So it should have been fourth year this year.
Fifth.
Fifth, sorry. My maths are terrible. So it's been growing in popularity year on year. And you moved location, you had some massive goals for heading down to London at some point. But as with so many things for so many listeners, COVID has just punted that into the long grass. So where was it planning to be in 2020?
This year was going to be Hull, and we've kept conversations going, and they are happy to host it again next year.
Okay.
So we're going to Hull again in 2021. It all started 2016 with the Chris's Brigade in Nottinghamshire Fire and Rescue, and 5 years. So we're going 6 years.
Because you first started doing it with Kev, didn't you? Did Kev introduce you to it, or how did that work?
Yeah, when I was Kev was my trainer when I was in my probation, and he'd been doing it for a couple of years on the circuit and stuff. And of course, he dragged me along when we went to Mönchengladbach, and I literally just got hooked from there on inwards. I think it was sort of like our second or third year there. That's where I met John. Yeah. And the first year we met the other two guys that helped that organise it. And we've just been going from strength to strength. It's really good, the fact that 4 of us have come together from meeting at a competition to now actually running our own. So it's been really good.
Because what people forget as well is you guys don't get paid to do this. It's not like a massive for profit. Nobody's rolling in the dough after this. It must be really hard to sustain that. I've done lots of charity stuff over the years, and it's bloody hard because there's a lot of organisation involved. When did you guys first think, obviously you started in 2016, but it's great going around to other competitions and going, oh, this is fun. When did you guys have the steels to go, you know what, let's do one ourselves? How did that first conversation come about? Because that's a big logistical challenge.
Yeah, I think it kind of started with us going to competitions in Germany and for John going other places around the world. All the foreign competitors are asking why we don't have competition in Britain. Mm-hmm. So, of course, being as enthusiastic as we are and, a little not as bothered about how things work out, we just went ahead with it. And we just, on 2016, went, right, this is the structure of the competition. Yep. We've got a venue. Let's just go for it and see how we go. And
where was the first one?
First one was in Nottingham at the Jubilee campus.
Okay. And how did that run in terms of smoothness and equipment and competitors? How many people were there?
We had about, 75, 85, 80 competitors?
70, yeah.
Yeah, 70 competitors for our first run out. And initially we thought it would just be UK competitors, but we got people coming from all over Europe. We had a guy come from Kuwait,
really?
Somebody come from from Australia. So it was really, really good. And surprisingly, it ran exceptionally smoothly. Yeah. Whether it was more by luck or judgment, we don't know. But it just ran so well, and everybody who came really enjoyed it. There was only a small crowd there because of where it was, but the crowd enjoyed it. All the competitors loved it, and the way that we set the competition up, how it kind of balanced in between doing a firefighter combat challenge and the toughest firefighter alive. It was a good balance between the two. Yeah. So it was a little harder, but also there was a little more endurance in it. So it was a competition that didn't really match either one or the other. It was it really
created a bit of a gap in the market, because some of them are really fast, aren't they, John? I mean, some of them are sub 90 seconds, whereas you go to some of the competitions. Where was the last one we went to where there was like 4 stages to it? I forget.
That's your toughest firefighter alive.
That is a long course.
Yeah,
a really long course. I'm not sure that's entirely reflective of turning out to an incident, because it's really long course. Yours is. What's actually involved in yours for anyone that's not seen the competition?
Okay, so we've got our new staircase. So we've got 6 floors to climb.
6 floors to climb now?
6 floors, yeah.
Mate, that is immense.
Sorry, 6 flights, or I should say 3 floors, 6 flights.
6 floors?
If I get any of this wrong, it's because I was on a night shift. Yeah.
It'll come out in the edit. No, it won't. 6, because, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute, because I know the stairs has been like the crux of the whole thing for ages. So you've got stair climb to start off with. Now, most people look at that and they go, yeah, okay, climbing stairs. Sorry, that would be easy because I do that all day long. But that really surprised me how smoked I was the first time I did that, because it's when you're wearing the kit and everything, it's different. It's a whole different game.
I think that's it. And I think even operationally, people will get the fire service equipment off the trucks. They'll get to a high-rise building or just a medium-rise, and you get tasked with, just take that equipment up 3 floors for me, please, 4 floors. And they get up and they are panting, you know. They're
and with all due respect, most of them are walking it as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you don't want to get there and be absolutely blowing out your ass. So in this one, we're sprinting, and you see the speed. We had Jared Johnson on. The speed some of these guys jump up it. But the biggest game changer for me wasn't how fast they went up. It's how fast some of them go down. Because I know, obviously, Rob Budge is one of the ones that really trains that. And I think he hit the nail on the head with a real marginal gain there. Because most people just think, I need big, strong quads to go up. But when was those revelations that there was these small gains in there as well?
I I think, well, look at 2016. We had Joachim Posantz. He's been in the game for years and years, an ambassador for the sport. But I think that's where Budge learned from. Watching him, he's just twinkle toes all the way down. He's just so quick, leaves people for dead. And he seems to get quicker as he gets older. It's insane.
Yeah. So we've got the stair climb, then you hit the top and it's hauling up, right?
Yeah. So we, obviously in the fire service, learn to haul equipment aloft. So replicating that scenario where you're, again, 4th, 5th floor of the building. You can't just keep nipping up and down. So there's a line all the way to the bottom and we haul up a 15 kilo hose pack. 15 kilos, so like over 2 stone. That's quite heavy. So is this a standard UK hose pack? Because some of them are a little bit different across the world, aren't they? Some are a bit heavier. Is there a double hose pack somewhere? Well, it's 20. Yeah, that's nearly 30 kilo. That's TFA. That is tough.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. I didn't really notice.
It's only 2 floors, but you know it's like nearly 30 kilos. Yeah,
that's what I think different body types play through, because that one for me didn't make the difference, whereas in TFA it's a much higher stairs. It was like 10, 20 floors. How high was the TFA floors?
So that's the final.
Yeah, the final one
event is a 14 floor.
14 floor. Yeah, you see the hose pack, I was fine, and I was smashing that one even with the double. I'm like, yeah, because I'm just a little bit bigger. But the stairs, that was it. I'm game over. It's not. I was rubbish at the stairs. So how many people do you see hit that successfully? Because yes, we do haul stuff aloft in the fire service, but not very often, and I think people struggle at that one.
And again, it goes back to Kev Ran, and you look at people that go to these competitions and they show you that technique. There is a technique to all the elements, and that's what we tell to our competitors: go away and train each element. It's not just, some people try and go overhand, some people try and use the barrier to try and sort of gain some leverage, but they take too long. So it's that overhand and reaching out, big overhand pulls. And again, you see some of the German lads the Croatians come over and they absolutely demolish it. Absolutely.
You ever had any big mess ups with it, Chris? Because I kept grabbing the loose line when I first started having a go with it, and it drops like 3 meters, which is so demoralising.
Yeah, it is, especially when you put it up nearly all the way to the top and then it comes down 2 or 3 floors. I think, like John says, a lot of it is technique. If you manage to pull the line right the way over the top of the barrier and toss the loose part aside, you've only got one line to grab hold of. And it is one of those things that the more you practice it and the more technique you get, the easier it gets. And eventually the weight becomes irrelevant. It just becomes more about the speed.
I wanted to, because whilst we go through the different levels of it, I did want to touch on sort of training techniques for it. So let's just jump back, my apologies, to the stairs. How do you train for the stairs? And what would you encourage anybody that's thinking, crikey, I didn't even know about this before, or I was really gutted I didn't hit 2020's one. Well, it gives me more time to prep for 2021, but honestly, I don't even know what I've been training. What do you train to assist you in the stair climbs, John?
Stairs, and more stairs.
There's no way to replicate it.
You can't
use a weighted pack, or do you just run in fire kit? Or
so I build it up. So there's I'm quite lucky. I've got a mixture of both outdoor staircases. I've got some real nice places near a quarry, but I've also got the city centre where I'm being given access to a couple of student buildings where, again, I just run up and down stairs for fun to begin with.
What packs do you use? Do you just use a set, or do you use, because this stuff's quite hard for people to get hold of, do you just hold a sandbag or what?
So I start off sort of a few months out and I'll be shorts and t-shirt, might wear my boots, and I'll just gradually, I'll do quite a few floors up and down, a bit more endurance building, and then gradually I'll start adding weight. So I've got a 10 kilo vest, I've got a 20 kilo vest, then I'll start putting on fire kit to, as you know, feel uncomfortable. It's not just the weight, it's that kind of...
That's the biggest bit for me. Get comfortable with discomfort. Because so many people can say, oh yeah, it's a nice sunny day today and I'm feeling quite good and healthy. I'm like, it's a bit of a wasted session for me. Yeah, I'm going to go hard, but I'm like, I want it to be stupid hot. I'm going to put a couple of hoodies on, mask it up. We've got the O2 deprivation mask there. Now, Chris, the stairs are a little bit taller for you, brother, because, a little bit vertically challenged. So, So what, can you do it? Can you do them to, not you, that's a bit condescending. Are we allowed to do it? Because you have to do them one at a time on the way down, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Can you do whatever you like on the way up, or?
Yeah, on the way up, it's as many steps as you like.
Are you still one at a time though, or?
No, I'm still 2 at a time. I might be short of a bit lighter, so I can leap
this
up.
This is true. This is true.
Going back to what you said about how we're built and stuff, it does actually make a big difference. Sometimes some of the bigger guys like yourself, we struggle with things like rolling the hose and stuff, whereas some of the shorter guys like myself, dead easy because we're lower to the ground. But for the stairs, for me, yeah, I can get up 2 at a time. I think stair training is something that gets overlooked quite a lot, because all the way through a lot of the competitions we do, it's all on the legs, and stair training hammers the legs, and it hammers your determination as well. When you get climbing up, if you got 20 floors to get there and you get to 17 and you're blowing, you're just telling yourself, come on, just 3 more, and it does push you a bit more. So that utilisation of stairs, if you can use them, it helps with everything.
I totally hear you when you talk about the physiology as well, because I think the first time we sort of competed together, John, that was like 4 or 5 years, whatever, after I stopped taking loads of drugs, and I'd cut like 6 stones. So we weren't a million miles away from each other. We were maybe 2 stone away from each other. But now everything's balanced out, and I've gone back. I know I'm just heavy now. I'm just heavy, and I enjoy lifting steel. Do you know what I mean? Do you still have compound lifts and stuff as part of your training? Because it can't really be that helpful. I remember when Jared was on, he was like, "No, when I get to that time of the year, I cut out a lot of my big lifting, but I enjoy it too much."
I think my natural predisposition is cardiovascular.
Yeah.
But for this sort of training,
with that stomach?
Well, see, come on,
he's really fit, but he's the guy who I was like, dude's condition, it never changes. I was like, I can't wait to see John ripped. He's been far fitter than me on many times, and I'm like, dude, what's going on there? Dad bod, isn't it? Dad bod.
It is, yeah.
Always, yeah. I've had a dad bod before kids as well.
Yeah, he was prepping for the family life.
So going back, shall we? We'll bring it back. Sorry. So I've lost my train of thought.
You don't tend to do a lot of compound lifting, so it's cardio is an easy place for you to be, because you naturally predisposition to it.
Exactly, but I think you speak to the best in the world. I mean, some of the best athletes out there for these competitions, and it's all about kind of leading up through the winter is your heavy lifts. You need the power, because it's a short, explosive event. You need that power to get up them stairs. You need the power to drag a heavy weight. So ultimately, you do need that strength and you do need that power. But then come spring, you don't need that weight. No. So you need to be getting that muscle turning over a lot quicker, and you need to be lighter and more energy efficient, and you need your cardiovascular levels to be at there.
I think agility, when you say that as well, I was very flat-footed. I was looking back at when I was running and stuff like that, I'm just thumping around. I'm still acting like I'm 23 stone, and I'm not. Do you know what I mean? It was really... It's just bloody frustrating.
Well, I think that's it. We analysed a little bit of our race last time we've spoken. It was the mixture of you're up the stairs quicker, I'm down the stairs quicker, you're hauling quicker, and you're striking quicker, but then I'm running quicker.
I think it's anything where I can push. Do you know what I mean? Anything where there's a big contraction, because that's effectively, when we talk about lifting, there's a big contraction involved. Whereas when you're doing that, deceleration down a stairs, and you're not working in the same sort of contraction bandwidth, if you will, that's exactly where you were just accelerating through it. But I remember when I went to the first one, there was loads of, and it's wonderful to see men and women obviously getting involved in it now, but there was loads of guys really struggle with the haul, really, and guys as well. How have you sort of tried to develop that, or is it always been natural for you, Chris, or have you had anybody approach you for hauling a loft? What's the skill set? Because that's quite hard to simulate. It's not really safe to be doing it at the local student union. Someone will let you, but...
Yeah, I think just... A lot of the time, some people have made little contraptions where they've done like a change of direction, so they're dragging a tyre across the yard, or they're doing straight up upright rows and just repeating them. So I think that works quite a lot with obviously making the strength there. But again, usually it's all the technique. So for a lot of the guys and girls on the stations that I've been training at and trying to get them to do it, it is as much about trying to make sure they get the technique with the line first and then start adding the power in later on. For me, that seems to work quite well. But everybody seems to have a different sort of take on it, a different technique. It is really just a case of practice, and just do it until perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah. That's where the massive flat spot in mine was. It was just ignorance, to be fair, because you, John, you were doing loads of stuff and inviting me to your station lots to go, and I was like, dude, I'm just so busy with the coaching and this sort of stuff, and I'm like, I'm just going to come and be really fit and strong, and hopefully that'll be enough. But you could massively see the difference in your techniques, because I mean, we've got a big twin tower cable pulley in here, and I was just like standing on a chair, and I would get the bottom of each cable, and I was just doing those pulls. But you're right, Christian, I wasn't getting the technique. And then on the day, sod's law, I just kept missing the rope. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was fast when it was moving. It was really fast. Yeah. But then it would drop 2 meters. Do you know what I mean? It was just so bloody demoralising. So, John, then we hit down bottom of the stairs, and that's the elusive sort of force machine, or what else do they call it?
It's forcible entry machine. Right. Kaiser is that's one that's
Where did that
used
come from?
It's an American make. So ours is built by Corehaven. So ours is the Corehaven, but most people refer to it as a Kaiser.
And that's simulating forced entry, 4 or 5. Well, this is the thing as well. How many hits does it take? 4 or 5 explosive hits. But you can see people on it all day long.
That's it. Yourself and Jack Baker, some powerful lads that I train with, and it's 5, 6 hits gone.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's more like 10, 11 hits. Yeah. And then there's other people that can literally be there 20, 30 hits later.
Yeah.
And coming back to the stairs, it depends what you've given on the stairs, because some people, inexperienced, maybe just go for it, and they get up to the top of the stairs, they get down, and they get to that hammer, and it takes them 10 seconds just to pick the hammer up.
Yes. Do you remember that guy that stacked it last year, though? Was it the year before? Completely stacked it. Did he break his arm?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Jesus, that's where people need to be so careful. I think that's why I slowed down as well, because I see it makes me a bit nervous, because you have to like jump up onto it, and you know it's a large steel contraption for anybody that's not seen it, and it's quite intimidating. You've got this, and I had this thing in my head, and it's stupid because if you think about it, you're going to do it. And I was like, I don't want to catch my foot on the lip of it and just bang, stack it head first, because when that lad did it, and it just looked brutal. But also when we're prepping the kit, and this was a thing I noticed when we went to different countries and stuff like that, and I know you guys are massive on this now, the prep that's done from an organiser's perspective, some of them move. I mean, I remember seeing one of the ones abroad, you could nearly move it with your finger. Do you know what I mean? There's somewhere ours is a bit like spit and sawdust, you have to really go for it, but then you see them over there, they're doing it in like 2 or 3 hits, and you think they're massively incredible athletes, which, okay, some of them are, but you know what are you guys actually using? Is it WD-40 or what's going on there?
There is a lubricant on there. It's just a silicone spray.
Okay.
But that is, so you look at a staircase. I mean, there's nothing that you can fail on there. It's UV meat, and there's no excuses. It's who's best to get to the top.
I think going up there's no difference, but going down there's the, and again we need to get Rob on. We need to get the Budge boys on. They go tight. I've seen there's like bruises on his arm.
Yeah,
when
he
smashes them into them railings bloody hard.
But again, the handrails, all the rest of the equipment on the course, you can't compare. It is identical equipment. Yeah, it is. There's no excuses. With the force benching machine, it is the one piece of equipment that we do thoroughly. We have a team that work on it in between races to make sure it has the exact same wipe down, the exact same amount of spray, to make that as consistent as we can. Because you do see races out in America, and one is more silicon than the other, and they hit it twice and it flies off the back. Someone else is there 8 hits later and it's still stuck.
I think I helped for about 10 minutes on that because you guys are like really, really, and for anybody listening, they take it really seriously. I was getting distracted, not paying attention, and somebody was like, dude, you can't be doing that. You know, this is not fair to the competitors. And I was like, I'm just so bloody excited to be here, brother. I'm just looking around. So it's great that you guys, I mean, they call them the yellow t-shirt team, isn't it? Or whatever.
Correct, yeah.
They are amazing, because they're all volunteers as well.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, they're a huge part of what you guys do. So forcible entry, so we're looking at somewhere between 5 and 10 hits. Training tips, Chris, what's going on with them?
Again, it's a lot of it comes down to sometimes your physiology. I mean, you're a big lad, you probably do it in 7 hits.
I just looked at it once and it just moved.
Yeah. We're not worthy. But I mean, like me and John, when we do it, when you actually time it, sometimes there's not a great deal of difference in it, is there? But I will take more hits to do than what John will, so I could be a little quicker. Hit with the actual hits because I've got shorter appendages, but obviously John's a little bit heavier, so
he is really heavy.
Yeah,
come on,
that's the big dad body. Let's go.
2 digs in like 5 minutes.
I meant muscular, bro. But I mean,
but where you hit it as well, because these are the points where you start losing. You get knocked off points because the hammers is like a red rubber hammer, isn't it? For want of a better description.
Yeah, it's a dead blow hammer. Yeah,
dead blow hammer. Thank you. And you can damage them. They're really expensive. You can damage them, but also it's against you, because if you're not hitting it flat on the front, you're not getting that biomechanics. You're not getting the most efficient swing. I've only ever done it with tires, but again, it's not a fantastic reflection of it. So do you use tires, or have you tried it? I think it's hard to reflect that one.
Yeah. I mean, I've been quite lucky because obviously, we get to practice it when we go to events and stuff, or when we go to things like the NEC. We take the forced entry machine with us, so we get to practice and play with it all day. And a lot of the volunteers that come to help out with us have that advantage as well. And you can see that on the day as well, because a lot of them, if it's the first few times they have a go with it, it's great. But hitting a tyre, it's quite difficult. You can't get the block behind you like you're supposed to do on the forced entry machine.
Yes. So just at the back of the heels, isn't it? You're looking to get it.
Yeah. So you hit it until it goes behind you, and they try and keep it behind you all the time. A lot of people seem to think you just shuffle backwards, and that's going to make the difference. But it's the block that's got to move, not you.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm same just as guilty of it when I first started, but as time's gone by, I've experienced now. I feel I'm quite proficient at it. But it is just practice, and like we said, if you can get the chance, come and help us out, because you will get something from it, and you'll get a chance to practice on probably the most difficult bit of kit there is.
I came with you, I think, wasn't it, John, to the NEC last year for the Emergency Services Show, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. Really enjoyed it. And again, a lot of people walk up that don't know what it is. Luckily, it's so easy to transport, so you just whip it straight out the boot of your car.
Yeah.
It is massive, isn't it?
It's 80 kilos. For anyone that doesn't know,
I remember, but it's not. It's the
80
size of
kilos.
it.
Yeah.
It's the size of it as well. It really is not. It doesn't lend itself to travel, does it? No. So we've got the force entry, and then we change gears, John. Then everybody gets off running, right?
That's it. That's where you pick up the hose, you pick up the branch, and you got 50 meters to start hauling it and running down that track.
So is it a charge line or not a charge line?
No, it's dry. The British is more about distance.
Okay.
So we have it flaked and it's dry. Part of that is just for the ease of resetting as well.
Do you have to put the coupling in? Because you see that on some competitions, don't you?
The
coupling off the second.
We've got 3 lengths basically, because it's 20 meter lengths of hose.
Okay.
So we've got like 3 lengths flaked out that are all coupled together.
Oh, they're already coupled
They're
for you?
already coupled, yeah.
So if people are practicing, it's just literally grab and go?
It's just grab and go, yeah. Previously, we did have one, I think it might have just been the first year.
It was the first year, yeah.
You had to pick up the male and connect it into the light portable pump.
Yes, yeah, because
And
again,
that's
like
part of
TFA, they have a couple of fire engines part, don't they? And there's different connections. I forget which ones they are.
Yeah, they got stores couplings.
Stores couplings, yeah, which is great because it doesn't matter which way around you put them. But on the flip side, it's got to be fairly dexterous for it. It's easy to get it wrong. You see people messing about there, just killing themselves. They haven't gone anywhere yet. So 3 lengths, 20 meter length, so 60 meter sprint effectively.
Yeah, just
full
short,
fire kit, big flumpy boots.
That's it.
Now this is something as I wanted to ask you guys about, because everybody doesn't seem like they're wearing the same stuff.
No,
what's going on there? I mean, what?
We have a
too
standard.
fast. What's the standard?
The standard
Look good?
It's
Because that bit works.
It is your structural firefighting PPE. So
Okay.
the difference being that some people, obviously brigades across the country differ.
Across the world.
And yeah, exactly. And I mean, just take Leicester, for example. Our standard kit has got that basically like a bin liner inside it. So it's got a pathogen barrier, which means our kit just makes you sweat. It's thicker. It's just,
Is anybody
it's
actually
hot.
checking this? Because I've seen some of the Germans and stuff like that, and it looks like they're just wearing very, very, very thin. I would challenge to see them in structural fire wearing that stuff. It ain't going to keep them very safe. That's all I'm saying.
There's a European standard that every bit of equipment that we check meets. The difference being is that some brigades, like ourselves in Leicester, go above and beyond that standard.
Okay.
So unfortunately for us, we're actually hampered.
Yep.
We do have that little.
But how
bit more
about
weight.
boots? Because I feel like that was the big game changer. You guys are not, and we were given some HAIX boots, which are all laced, and they're still structural firefighting boots or whatever. But that was a real like night and day when I started running in them versus big wellies.
Again,
basically.
look at some of the Germans. So the Germans quite often purchase their own kit. Some of these are basically on-call firefighters in their communities, and some of them get budget to just purchase their own kit, and it's all individual to themselves. So that the cost isn't as much of an issue. So our fire service goes for maybe a cheaper pair of boots, so we can get more boots, and typically it's a welly.
What about gloves and no
better
gloves? Do you have to wear the gloves, or do you have to wear gloves?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to have fireproof gloves. So for most of us, usually it's Firemasters or the Bristol equivalent. Firemasters. Fire gloves are relevant because the whole point of the actual course is it's not technical rescue, it's fire. So you wear the kit that you would normally do at a turnout. We need to make sure that everybody's protected as well. Obviously, like whenever you read any operational guidance, the first thing that comes up is slips, trips, and falls.
Yep.
And we need to make sure we look after our competitors like that. So
100%.
there's some things that we put in place that people go, "Oh God, I can't believe that."
Yeah.
But it's for their protection as well.
Do you ever get people really upset about? I mean, do you check them at the start, and like, do you ever have to send anybody away? There must be some people getting a little bit upset about it. I don't know.
So far,
You're a big guy, Chris. I mean, I'm sure you don't mind. You just like front up on them, and that's fine. But for me and John, we're not as brave as you. It's scary times out there.
Well, I mean, right at the beginning, when everybody signs up, the terms and conditions of the competition is that you abide by the rules.
Okay.
And the rules are that you must compete in your structural fire kit. That is it. People show up and really you are just cheating yourself, because we will turn you away.
Okay.
We're not bothered. We will disqualify you because that's not sportsmanship. That's not what we're into it for.
No.
If everybody else is working really hard, if you got the slowest person on the course in full kit and they grafted their heart out to compete, which is what they have done, and they've stepped forward as well, so they deserve the same chance as everybody else.
100%.
And when you get somebody cheating, just won't tolerate it, and you will be disqualified. So it's that simple.
Okay.
The good thing is, I mean, we've had people turned away, but equally we've got a community of people there. So there's always someone that will say, "I tell you what, I'll lend you my gloves." Yeah, exactly. I'll lend you my helmet. I'll lend you my gloves because yours don't conform. So he'll still get that chance. Still get that chance to compete. It might just be in someone else's kit.
I remember having to borrow your tunic. I mean, you're so stacked, so luckily it fit me. But I nearly couldn't do it at one point, which was nerve wracking. So we've done the sprint. Then what's happening next, John?
So then we're back for the dreaded hose makeup. This is the bit we get some stick for. We love it. This is a part, again, if you've been
controversial.
Yes.
Again, mate.
You've been out to
how
the
good does it need to be?
Alive. It's just got to fit into a box, which is it's not streamlined. So you can go with a bit of speed. It has got some wiggle room.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it needs to be a roll of hose.
Yeah.
I've seen people, I think my favourite.
That's the best bit.
You missed it. 2016, Mark Harrison was my favourite, and I saw him, and it was just all went everywhere, and it was like putting spaghetti in a box.
Yeah.
It was,
no, I can beat that one. Do you remember when there was that guy whose helmet kept falling off the front of his head, and he couldn't quite roll it up? And this dude was like, he was supposed to know what he was doing, leading by example.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, John?
That's 3 digs. That's 3 digs. I'm not counting.
Mate, that was great. What the hell happened there? For anyone who didn't see it, John Gregory was... And we all thought, we'll put John there because he's fast.
2019 was my year of bloopers, okay? That's all I'll say.
And the rest.
So I let my team down.
At least he was in good shape for it, though.
He was, yeah.
That was the relay event, okay? And yeah, I went through the hose makeup. I put my head down and I just heard something snap, and my helmet just dropped in front of me. So not only is my helmet, fortunately it didn't come off my head because that would have been instant disqualification.
Would it?
Yeah.
You know what? I remember it and I was like, dude, just take it off. And then I thought to myself, no, you can't just take it off. But it fell off like 3 times, didn't it?
It fell and it hung around my neck, and
that was amazing.
I was blind.
I didn't even care about winning then. I just wanted that to last for days. I was like, this is amazing. So we've got the hose makeup. It hasn't got to. It's got to fit in a box. Not spaghetti junction. What's the techniques for this one, mate? I'm sure it's just practice.
He's the man. Chris is the man for technique.
Yeah.
Closer to the ground, is that what it is?
Well,
I didn't say it. Just for the record, I did not say it.
Yeah. It helps if you've not got like any extra body
body fat
belly in the way as well. So but yeah, it's for me, like, the neater you get it, the quicker it goes. So a lot of the time people kind of rush too much trying to get it up and get it going and stuff. For me, like, when you roll the hose, if you look just in front of where your roll is, your hands will go where your eyes are looking. So that helps an awful lot. Get the first few rolls nice and tight, and then just tap it forward and just kind of keep going with it, really, and just keep the speed. As soon as you get to the coupling, let it go over the top and then stop it, because sometimes if it rolls too fast, then what happens is the coupling will spin around and then it'll either hit you in between the nether region or you have to then stuff it into the box afterwards. But,
do you grab lugs or you don't grab lugs? What's your approach?
My personal approach is not to grab lugs. I just grab all the coupling.
I've had some people say it's faster, but you catch a dodgy lug and it's not spinning. Then your whole idea goes to pot immediately.
The only person I know that can do it successfully is Richard Wilds in Humsole Fire and Rescue. He's, again, of a shorter stature.
Shorter disposition. Controversial. Yeah, say that when he can't be here to defend himself, John.
He celebrates that, though. He celebrates it.
He's coming on the show next week, so that'll be fun. I'm sure he'll be able to tell us all about yourself. So we roll the hose. Then, for those that are still standing... What's now? In fact, no, it's not this bit yet, is it? No. So now we've got, is it barrels, John?
Yeah, we've got the equipment carry. So on a fire ground, this could be all sorts. For us, it's the foam containers, but this could be at an RTC. It could be all sorts. Carrying equipment is a big part of our job. So these are both 20-kilo containers, and we've got 4 of them. So you could do
That's quite heavy.
Yeah, you could do it
40
one at a time.
40 kilos a time?
Or you could do it 2 at a time, which is what most people tend to go for.
Can you do it 1 at a time?
You can if you want to.
I've never seen anybody do it 1 at a time.
You've got to get 4 barrels there. It's just quicker to go 2 at a time.
Yeah. How far do you have to carry them?
10 metres.
10 metres. So
doesn't
really
sound far.
Doesn't
sound far, but 40 kilos moving it, especially towards the end of the course, it does catch up with you, and it's grip strength.
I was about to say grip strength. So we're advising dumbbells, just walking, carrying dumbbells, shopping bags. I mean, anything that's got a bit of weight in it, really. And just doing shuttle runs. In fact, not runs. Can you run with them?
You can try. Yeah, some of them. some of them can. I try.
If
my helmet's on my head, yeah.
and then we hit the final part of the course, right, Chris? Is this the last one coming up?
Yeah, that's the last one. That's the casualty extraction. So it's a Ruthly dummy drag. So it's the part that generally tends to make or break the whole competition.
Love it.
It's the best bit. Last year, one of the competitors from Notts, I'm going to give him a mention because he still kicks himself about it now. I said to him, "Don't look back, just keep going until you hit the crash mat." He looked back twice and fell over twice and probably
It's so
so difficult, yeah. But he may well have cost himself a place on the podium. But a lot of this, like we've been saying before, it's all technique. Listen to the advice, the little tips that do work. And the reason why we know they work is because we've done them ourselves. We've been in this game for getting on for 10 years now. So we get used to it. We pick up the little tips and we listen to what everybody talks about. But the dummy drag is the part that is probably the most important part of our job. It's what we do, and it's the part that we need to make sure that we get right. And with the dummy drag on the competition, it is generally the bit that people struggle most with because they're just blowing.
Absolutely blowing up. Their legs are just smoked. So do you pick up high or low? Because I kept getting different kinds of advice, to be honest, John. I mean, I was always going to pick it up high, but then I felt like the weight was on my chest. But I saw, people like Chris, it was barely, picking it off the floor and the whole thing was dragging. What's the best? Do you want to get it off the floor? Because then you're carrying more weight. Yeah. You want to get the whole thing off the floor because you're not going to drag, or?
Individually, again, I think the taller you are, it kind of, if you can pick it as high up as you can, you've got no friction on the ground.
Okay.
So you can almost start running with it.
But I feel like then you're leaning back more, and that's when people stack it.
Yeah. So you've got to be confident with it. And again, it's just keep your head looking forward, keep looking straight down the track and keep running straight backwards, because that's where, again, one of ours was destined for potentially winning the entire competition. Jack Baker, he literally looks back at the last 2 meters and he goes. And it's just that.
I know, loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's great. You know what, though? I was petrified of doing exactly the same thing, because you could see when you and I ran together, John, your confidence in that aspect of the race was massive. You were comfortable in what you needed to do. Your technique was on point. I was petrified. I was like, because I was ahead at that point and I was scared to death the whole thing that I was going to fall over. So I slowed right down that, and we were literally obviously I won, but we were nose and nose right until the end, because I was still on full over. Do you know what I mean? And that's the bit where. So training tips for that. Is there anything you can really do for that?
You just, again, you've just got to get your hands on the kit. I can't say it enough to
people.
Hand
on a dummy? How heavy are they?
These are 70.
70 kilos.
70 kilos. Every fire station has a dummy. If you've not got a 70 kilo one, you've only got a 51
on my station, at least.
I mean, what we're surrounded by right now as well. We're surrounded by tyres.
Yep, absolutely.
If anyone doesn't know Pete's gym, it's a tyre lover.
There's plenty to play around in here. There's all sorts of stuff.
So you can modify anything. A tyre is a really good tool for the fire station. Cheap to get hold of, mostly free. Put a little bit of rope round it and away you go. And the friction you get off them is the perfect tool for learning to drag. And don't ever drag fresh. Never drag fresh.
Really?
Get on a bike, get on a row machine, do some sprints first, get yourself tired.
So it's going to reflect that.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly, because you are never, in any firefighter competition you attend, you will never, ever drag that dummy fresh.
This is true.
So train tired.
I tend to hold a bag and use the sleds as well. They're always quite good, but again, it's just availability, isn't it? It's that cost aspect of it. So that's the rundown of the course as we see it. Is it going to be the same layout? Because I loved how the years before you've had the last one, the casualty drag, casualty education runs right up the middle. You can see that head to head, and you can almost, like you said, count the cones so that you know when you're getting close to the end. Is it going to be a similar layout this year, 2021? Is that what we're hoping for?
Yeah, identical. So we've got a blueprint now. That the course you saw in Watford will be the course that you see every year now. So
that's working, is it? That's
the
rectangle.
That's the course, and anyone that sees photos or videos from Watford, that is the course.
Beautiful, absolutely love it. So we spoke a lot about training that's going through this year. I want to delve into some of the personal aspects, because John's obviously head over heels committed to the dad bod training program, but Chris, you're going different places. You've got a real challenge on your hands, right? You doing some swimming or something, brother?
Yeah. Well, this year I've been training for the last few years to attempt to swim the English Channel. And I should have gone this year.
English Channel?
Yeah. So England
I've got my 5 metre badge. That's like the same. Similar, right? That's the same.
Yeah. This is 21 miles. So,
give or take.
Give or take.
So you're going to swim the channel?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Of course. Why would you do that?
It's one of those things that's always been on my radar as a kid. And, I just kind of, I'm 40 now, so you know, I thought,
is that all?
Yeah. I thought, you know, 40th birthday, I'll do the thing, my childhood sort of thing. So I started training for it about 3-4 years ago.
Really?
Has seriously impacted the training for firefighter competitions because
excuses.
No. Okay. Well, could be. Yeah, could be either way.
What is the training for that? Is it distance? There can't be no gym training for that, surely, is there?
There is, mostly for just kind of a little bit like injury prevention, because obviously it's just a repetitive motion over and over again. So a bit of weight training does help assist with that repetitive strain, helps keep you straight as well, because you're always going to be a bit more dominant one side when you swim, so which helps if you're swimming in circles.
Have you read Ross Edgley's book?
Yes, I have. Yes,
yeah, because he talks a lot about, you know, shoulder mobility. He does a lot of hanging, a lot of subscap work and stuff like this to really help keep that consistency. So have you done? You've obviously probably done a lot of open water swimming by now.
Yes, yeah, loads,
totally different game, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah,
it's not. I feel like it's not even the same sport.
No, it's not.
It's ridiculous because I'm rubbish in open water. It's just, you know, I feel like I can get in a pool and I'll be fairly comfortable. But open water is a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it's the temperature is the thing. It's you know, when you're swimming in like rough around 10 degrees swimming and you're in there for like 2 or 3 hours, because that's sort of like your training session. It's not just a 20-minute session. It's 2 or 3 hours training for endurance, like it is when you're doing marathons or ultramarathons.
That's what I hate about those sorts of sports. With all due respect, it's just a time commitment. When I hear marathon runners, they're like, "I do 120 miles this week." That's like stupid hours a day. I'm like, oh god. Do you know what I mean? I much prefer a sport where I can smash it out in 40 minutes and then I'm kind of done for the day. That's got to be a huge commitment, man.
Yeah, it has taken up an extremely large portion of my life, to say the least.
Did you always plan to do it next year, or were you going to try and do it this year? Or
it was booked in for this year, but unfortunately with the recent COVID restrictions, that got cancelled. So I'm booked in for.
There's a lot of COVID in the channel
next year.
There's a lot of COVID in the channel. I don't know. No, you get away with it. Yeah. So how do people reach out to you? Are you raising money for it? You must be getting some attention, right?
Yeah, I'm trying my best. I'm raising money for Birmingham Children's Hospital. My niece was in there. She's had 2 open heart surgeries there.
Wow.
And she's my little hero. She's, you know...
Is she swimming it as well?
No, unfortunately not. No,
lazy.
No.
Just saying. That's incredible, man.
Yeah, she's a great little girl. She's it's like most kids. They're some of the greatest inspirations we ever get.
Yeah, absolutely.
After her operation, she was a completely different child. She's so happy and smiling and doing all the things that normal kids can do. Yeah. They know that she couldn't, and a lot of the time we take for granted her health far too much.
Oh man, absolutely.
And it's this is something she was born with. She couldn't do anything about. It's just a genetic thing. It's a congenital heart defect. And when we see people out there that just take, you know, their health for granted, sometimes it's a little bit upsetting when you see.
Makes me quite angry.
Yeah,
you know,
I've
done a lot of work with
too.
Rainbow's Hospice and stuff like that, and you see some of their end of life support care and stuff like that. And when you get angry, I mean, John, Dad Bod's got obviously kids and stuff like that, so you find yourself sometimes getting a bit annoyed with your kids. You know, I've got 3 kids, but then you think, you know, they haven't got a disability, they have not got a cleft palate, they've not got a learning disability, they're all fully functioning, and you think, God, I'm so bloody ungrateful. Do you know what I mean? You take it for granted. Even your own health. You know, when's the last time you had like a bad tooth or a bad back? Yeah, and you were like, God, I would give anything just to be fine again. And we just take it for granted. So how old is she now?
She's getting on to 8 years old now. So she should be 8, yeah. So
imagine what that's given her though, in terms of mental resilience and drive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Nothing's going to phase her in the future. She's going to kick some ass.
No. I mean, she's pretty bulletproof in general, really. She's always happy, but obviously with things like the older you get, the more conscious you get. So, you know, now you start to get to the point where she's saying to Mum, I'm a bit scared now and all these sort of things. So she's getting a bit more conscious. So it's a bit more upsetting in that sort of respect. But, you know, kids are ever so resilient. They bounce back and they just keep pushing forward. And yeah, she's like I say, she's my little hero. You know, a lot of the stuff I do, I keep thinking of her just to kind of push you forward. So
really grounds you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
When you go, oh God, it's a bit cold today, and you're like, mate, she had 2 heart surgeries, and you're like, get over yourself. Just get in water.
Exactly. Yeah, just get on with it.
So Chris is swimming the channel, John. What are you doing, brother? Raise the bar. What does 2021 hold for you, my man? You were expecting a baby as we currently speak, are you not?
Had it, yeah.
You've had it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really bad. We'll edit that out. I'm joking. Congratulations. We have 2 kiddywinks now heading in. How is training and life demands and everything different? Because when you started BFC, you had no kids. You were, a single. You weren't single, but it was a different kind of life. And a lot of people might be looking at BFC and thinking these things are a barrier. You know, they're like, oh no, yeah, it's all right for so and so, but I've got kids and I've got current demands and stuff like this. How have you found that change in your life and getting that sort of balance between family and work and fitness?
It's part of it.
Okay.
So what you find when you go to a number of these competitions around Europe, around the world, is family is a big part of these events. So nothing phased us. Charlotte frequently attends the events I go to. Obviously now the kids are there, so yeah, Hallie's 2.5.
Charlotte's in great shape, by the way. Just think it's the real. I've never seen it. It's chalk and cheese.
Yeah,
Do you know
I don't think he knows how lucky
Punching,
he is. To be
punching,
fair.
bro.
Absolutely.
7 digs. This is getting ridiculous.
We love you, Charlotte. So she comes, she supports. So it is and I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
It is a family event. Even when we've gone abroad and stuff like that, people will invite you into their home. They'll look after you, and even you guys, you like organised travel for competitors. That's where I think it's different, because you are in competition, but it's a different feel. Do you know what I mean? It's very much a family event.
Yeah, and that's what we always strive for it to be. We want it. We've got a little junior course for the toddlers, for the young children,
Nice.
so they can emulate
Are you on that one, Chris? Is that,
Yeah, I came second place. last year.
yeah, second place. God damn it. Hallie just pipped you at the post on that one.
Damn it.
She's got a great coach though, right?
the best.
Anyway, so family event. So sorry, we have set up a miniature course. That's awesome, because
Yeah.
people might think, I was going to go and do it, but kids would just be standing around. So there's lots for people to do when they come next year.
Exactly, and that's part of it. So we've got the junior course, we have some community safety there. So we want the families to be involved at the event and not get bored and stay with us. And yeah, it's a big part.
These are massive events to put on, and let's be honest, they cost a lot of money. Cost a hell of a lot of money. I know you guys have managed to sort of get yourself your own tower, which was like $5,000 or something. It was every year you had to try and raise that money from sponsorship and stuff.
It's 50. The actual tower itself is £50,000, and we're fortunate. Crofton Engineering, they supplied the tower with the cost to ourselves of 36,000 spread out. So that cost is something that we're looking to pay off via corporate sponsors every year, or something that we're looking into at the moment, which is some crowdfunding. So we're looking at different ideas to pay off the costs of our event every year. Yeah.
So sponsorship is a massive aspect of what you do, and it's a really good thing. Like you say, you guys, and nothing's getting put in anybody's pocket. It's a really great feel. It's done globally, so it's not like you guys are doing something out of the ordinary and a bit strange. It's a really great thing. It's an opportunity for people to support the emergency services. How has sponsorship gone since day one? Who's come on? Who's stayed with you? Who's here right now? Who's helped you get to where you are in terms of who do we need to thank?
I think starting from the very beginning, you've got to look at we weren't necessarily given money straight away. It was more about what do we need to run the event? We need the kit.
Okay.
So you had Angus Fire, who just gave us loads of hose. You gave us Ruth Lee, who gave us the mannequins. So it was those guys that really came on board at the very, very beginning. Then we were looking at what can we offer our competitors as well as the race. So we got T-shirts. We had Ballyclare came on board, and then you've got HAIX obviously that came in. And then like I say, as we've gone bigger, we've got bigger companies. You've got MSA. You've got Johnny Garrett down here recently.
Yeah, Johnny William Wood.
Yeah, William
Awesome
Wood
dude.
watches came down. So you've got
Tap him up. They're doing really well. Ask him for some more money.
every year, doesn't you know it? Yeah. Oh, it's John again.
I'm busy. I'm dead. I can't talk.
So yeah, everything is a fire service connection. So yeah, whether it be the fire
people
kit you're
can't just
wearing
reach
or
out
the set
like
on your back.
Whoever can't just reach out and go, I'll give you £1 million. It needs to be something that's congruent with the morals and the values that you guys you want your sponsors to be aligned with the fire service. Is that right? Or emergency services in general, or
not necessarily. I think it's who we align most with. Who's going to get what are they going to benefit most from? So clearly a fire service market, a PP provider, like you say,
because you have chiefs visit. I mean, you have chiefs compete.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You've a lot of fire community, past and present, come to your events. So it is, in all seriousness, to any sponsor, it's a fantastic opportunity because you guys get exposure, and you were running stuff live across the web, YouTube or something last year, weren't you? So the game changes in terms of technology and attendance. Because you said because there was 70 at the first event. How many did you have last year?
Last year, we had 250 competitors signed up for the event.
250 competitors.
Yeah, so.
Wow. So that's fourfold. We've grown there. That's massive. How many are you looking to get? How many did you go for it this year or next year? How many are you trying to
It's the same. It's the same answer. We're now fixed with over a 2-day event. Is that
your cap?
That's our cap.
Is that really what you think you can get at?
So what we're looking at next year is potentially putting on a Friday afternoon as well as a Saturday and Sunday, just to sort of cater for the increase in demand.
Okay.
once it goes over that, we're not sure.
It's a great problem to have.
Exactly.
It's a great position to be in.
Do we buy another tower and you could have 4 lanes? That would be a spectacle, wouldn't it? Imagine 4
I
people
love 4
competing.
lanes.
So we've got to weigh all that up and come up with some solutions. But it's like you say, it's a great problem to have. The popularity of these events is growing.
So firstly, let's just close that loop. If anybody is hearing about this, and obviously John, you've been on before, we've had loads of competitors on the podcast. How can a sponsor get in contact? Because we've had a couple of business owners on here as well, and they'll hear this and they'll be like, that's kind of a cool thing. It's obviously getting some great exposure. I mean, how many, 250 firefighters and their families, we're looking at 2,000 people worth of fire service and emergency service community. It's a great opportunity. How do sponsors get in contact with you?
So website, www.britishfirefighterchallenge.co.uk. We've got email, so you can contact ourselves directly, hello@britishfirefighterchallenge.co.uk. Check out the social media. You can message us directly through there as well. But yeah, there's lots of ways to.
There's lots of opportunities for sponsors to get involved.
Definitely, yeah.
You'd said about the tower being one of the massive. I mean, 36k is pretty huge. You've been talking about a lot lower numbers in terms of sponsorship. People might hear that one and think it's quite a challenge, but other than that, it's bloody huge as well. How the hell do you guys get that around? Because we're strong athletes, but we're not superheroes. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's not here today, but Michael Joseph, he's the main man behind the tower.
I tell you, I love that guy. Always injured though. Always injured.
Always got something in.
It's his age.
Jesus, it's his age, is it? Okay.
So yeah, he leads the way with the sort of transportation and the build and the dismantle. So every year, just that transportation cost and the build alone is over £10,000.
Jesus.
So
a lot of pressure for Mickey.
That's
basically
it. That's it. So we put it on Mickey,
Love it. Fair enough.
So this year going forward, we've got Bosch coming involved. Bosch are providing our power tools and some finance as well.
Oh, that's incredible.
So they're doing it all. Last year in Watford, so that was Mickey and Rob's brigade, Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue Service, and so they took a real hold on that competition that year. And they were very fortunate nearby that they had a transportation and a building firm, a construction firm that they could lend a hand, and they actually ended up digging us out with £10,000. So they supplied the transport costs and the build costs free of charge.
Wow, who was that?
That was PhD.
PhD.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
massive shout out to them.
Exactly.
And they're doing it again this year, right?
So we're working exactly. That's the idea.
Put your hand in your pocket.
And that working forwards, we're looking at how can you use that tower year on year as well, not just once a year, but maybe a few more times a year. So
because you're saying you're at capacity, aren't you? For your comp. So like you said, regionals is the next step.
Regionals is our biggest step. So we're looking at Cheshire, for example, have hosted a regional event, and we're looking at other areas. Suffolk would like one, Manchester want one. There's lots of places that are crying out now saying we want them. South Wales contacted us about one. So if we can move that tower around the country, then we could have more events, and then the British will be kind of the elite event. So the best of the best from around the country turn up and go head to head.
But surely that's going to mean just so much more people power in terms of organisation. You guys are maxed out. How many people were in the team?
There's 4 key players. So myself, Chris, Rob, and Mickey. Okay. We're the key players at the moment, but around
that's
that as well,
you've got 4 people to do.
That's just the key infrastructure. You've got the social media, you've got lots of other things that people do. So the Cheshire lads, for example, they put a massive shift in with the social media. Chesney was behind a lot of social media and sponsorship for a little while as well, for a few years. So he's been part of the team, and I'm sure he'll be back involved for plenty of years to come. So yeah, the team is growing, and we definitely do need more people.
If people think it sounds incredible, again, probably an obvious question, but can they just get involved? Do they need to be local? Or if they think, I've got a spare few hours a week or a month, or I've got a horrible social life, I just need something to do, they can get involved. You do need more people in the team. You're looking to expand, because obviously these regional ones, they're going to have a lead, right?
Yeah, they have someone who coordinates from their end. But you don't need to be local. I mean, like I say, we've got... Fortunately, me and Chris are quite local, Leicester and Notts, but then you've got, you've got Chesney out in Gloucestershire, you've got the guys out in Cheshire, you've got Mickey and Budge down in Hertfordshire.
And is there a communication problem there? In terms of, being able to understand them and stuff like that? Chez is not it. No, I'm joking. So for brigades that want to get involved, how much do they actually have to commit to it?
So we set up an agreement at the beginning of each year. So it's 50-50. We agree that we will provide the equipment and the infrastructure. We'll take the lead on registration. We'll bring our sponsors forward. But ultimately, we try and commit to a minimum of 50% of the revenue needed to cover the event. So at the moment, we're looking somewhere between £40,000 and £50,000 per year.
Wow.
So we commit
that half?
to... Yeah.
That's half.
No, so that's the full amount. Sorry, that's the full,
right.
the full amount. Sorry, no.
Don't want to be putting off any chief fire officers, is all I'm saying.
No.
So if they were they're hearing this and they're like, was it? Okay, 25k. If they know they've at least got a round figure in their head, they're like, okay, that's achievable.
And
I've got somebody that's hungry for it, and I want to increase morale, increase engagement, give my firefighters a great opportunity. It'd be a great thing to bring to their city.
Massive. And it's you've got over 12 months to get that sponsorship. And as we go forward, we want to organise these events 2 years, 3, a little bit like an Olympic model. We'll start having brigades bidding for this event.
Okay.
And I think they will, because ultimately football, rugby, a lot of your team sports are starting to disappear.
Yeah.
And this is a big event that's growing in popularity that I can see people have an affiliation to, that really represents what they do for the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's job specific, it's job relevant.
It's such a family event. It's competitive, yet it's not nasty. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's there supporting each other. It's such a unique thing that you do. Do you just do it for firefighters?
So no, we are now branching out, and this is the fun side.
Okay.
So
I thought that was fun. A bit harsh, but a waste of 40 minutes.
So we are looking out to all the other services. So I mean, this year's been a prime example of frontline responders being a bigger family. You know, it's
100%.
not just fire service, it's the police, it's the ambulance, it's everybody in this together. So we're now looking to do the stair run this year. It was supposed to be this year, it's now going to be next year, 10th of April. It's the first year that we're opening this up now to all services. So prison, Coast Guard, RAF, everybody.
Wow.
Any frontline responder can turn up and compete for that event.
Where's that happening?
That's London, that's Broadgate Tower.
Broadgate Tower in London.
And
I think I got an email about it.
You might have got a reminder.
I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about touching base with Venderlin and carrying a female firefighter or a female up there and raise some money for breast cancer awareness.
Amazing.
I thought that'd be awesome. Because remember when we did it in Leicester?
Yeah.
I saw that, and then when I spoke to Venderlin, it just like back him out, I was like, that'd just be great. Do you know what I mean? Let's carry women up there, raise some money. It'd be awesome, because otherwise the stair run's just far too easy if you're not doing something a little bit harder. So I was like, we've got to change gears a little bit.
So the two main things there are stair running. We spoke about earlier. It's a great base fitness for the British Firefighter Challenge. So it links back to your base training, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. Then we're looking at the teamwork. So we're doing the registration is a team of 2. So you must enter with one other person, and when you finish, you'll no more than a flight of stairs.
I haven't got any friends.
You'll find
that's going to be my crux, isn't it? That's where I'm falling down, you see.
That's why Nick put someone on your shoulders in.
That's they don't even need to want to do it. I'm just going to grab them. So 2 people registered 10th of April. How much is it?
It's £80, £40 each. But so you do it as a team of 2 in your full turnout gear. So whether it's the police in the full riot gear, if
that's a bit easier for them, surely.
They're
not wearing full fire kit.
There's going to be different leagues, so there's going to be different, like I say, league tables for police, fire, ambulance. They're all in different, like I say, different bits of PPE. And then once you've done it once, we're going to give you the opportunity to do it in shorts and t-shirt. And then it's a level playing field. Then it's fire versus police versus ambulance, and that's
going to be right up your street.
Yeah,
you are going to enjoy that one.
Yeah, he's also a perfect man for the stairs. He loves it. He galloped up it 12 times last year.
I saw him doing it then. Dude's got it. So we're talking about fittest athletes and stuff there. Chris, who can we think? You've only got 250 spots for next year. Who are we looking at in terms of the big hitters? Who's coming back? Who's got titles to defend? Who are the people to watch?
Oh, there's so many people. There's long lists. Obviously, like John was talking about with Jack, we'll be keeping a close eye on him next year, hoping that he can keep his
sort himself out, basically. Stop embarrassing himself.
Keep his enthusiasm focused is probably the best way to describe it. The guy Gary Gasforden from my brigade, he was so close as well. So hopefully he'll be coming back next year and giving it a good heave-ho. It's always year after year. It's always interesting watching the Budge brothers battle it out every single year. Yeah, it's
how many more years do you think they can keep doing that?
Oh God, I don't know. To be fair, I imagine they're going to be doing it in Zimmer frames at one point, because neither one of them want to Let
But Dave lost the magic weapon this year. Do you know what I'm saying? Pooch is no longer going to be with us. Is that going to be a game changer? I don't know. I feel like Hercules has lost his hair. I don't know. Nah, dude's a beast. I know he'll be kicking ass and taking him. So what about the internationals, John? Who else we got? You spoke about this Joachim,
Yeah, Joachim Posans is on about coming back. You've obviously got our ambassador of Matt Coulthard.
He's had some big injuries though.
He has, and he always bounces back.
Yeah, he does. He did a big swim recently.
Well, I won't say big. But yeah. I mean, hats off to him. It's a big feat. It is
Bless
hard.
him.
It's really hot out there as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well done, princess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good effort.
Yeah, it's not quite 10 degrees in water, but we'll be. Right.
It's nice and warm out there. So we've got Joachim. We've got some of the great internationals. We've got Matt coming back. What else have we got to look forward to, John?
I think you've got people like Aaron Childs is relatively new to the competition. You had him on a few months back. He's a bit of
a dark horse,
He's a weapon as
he's
well.
He's tall,
yeah.
he's thin, he's strong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I always look at him a little bit like a John Gregory 2.0.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? John Gregory.
What he could have been.
Yeah, what he could have been. That's what. So yeah, I think he'll be a massive game changer for this year.
I think you've had her on here as well, Beck Meacham.
Beck is awesome.
Yeah, she's gone from wanting to compete so much and wanting it more than anything else to throwing everything into what she's got, and watching her grow from the first competition we did in Cheshire to last year and to now seeing her this year. I've got a feeling she's I mean, she's only tiny as well. She's not particularly tall.
No.
So I think she's
it's personal discipline.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the red hair or what, but
probably,
she is just so disciplined, so
just
committed.
The fury and the rage.
It's the accountability. She's really committed. Absolutely love her.
It's just like when people, want to kind of do anything, if they want to help support us and stuff, one of the biggest things that we get is obviously sponsorship is always a key thing. And when you see our content and stuff on social media, just if you can share it as much as possible, because the more people that see it and the more it gets around, the more our sponsors look and go, oh, right, there is a lot of benefit to supporting the Firefighter Challenge. So we will kind of help along with that. And just doing something like a quick share and comment, or, it makes a big difference.
It really does. Like people say, the reach and the compound effect of sharing the stuff out there. It's a good cause. Nobody's putting lots of money in their pockets or anything like that.
No.
It's a great cause. Gents, thank you very much for coming on the podcast today, and I look forward to seeing you next year.
Yeah,
thanks,
Pete.
Pete.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Well, there we have it, guys. That was John and Chris from the British Firefighter Challenge team. A really, really good episode. So much fun to do that one. It's always fun when you've got like 3 people on the episode as well. Do you know what I mean? Everybody bounces off, and it's just such a fun episode. I really enjoyed having those guys down. Myself and John did some training afterwards, and practicing all the techniques, some of the force machine stuff. Some casualty techniques, some extrication techniques. It was really, really good, trying to raise that level of fitness back to this more cardio side. I'm so used to doing a lot of weight work during the back end of 2020, so it was great to get in there with John, change gears, and really start pushing myself again. I'm looking forward to being there for the competition in 2021. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much for you guys for coming back to the podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it brought some levity to your day. I hope it put a smile on your face. I hope maybe it tickled your mental pickle and got you thinking about getting back into some fitness. Maybe getting yourself ready for next year's competition. Maybe it inspired you to reach out to one of the athletes. Maybe it inspired you to reach out to the team. Maybe you're going to do this Stairgate Tower run, down in Broadgate. That'd be amazing. Down in London, I think April 1st, wasn't it? Maybe that's the thing that's going to be your target for 2021 as you start your fitness goals. Thank you so much for coming back. You guys know the Firefighters Podcast. We've been going nearly sort of 12 months now. The Firefighters Podcast now has listeners in over 45 countries, and it's been a really, really fantastic journey so far. So a big thanks from myself and from Ellie and from everyone that supports the work of the Firefighters Podcast. It's a huge privilege to be here, sharing these experiences with you, getting to know really incredible and interesting people as part of the emergency services all over the world. We hope the podcast inspires you. We hope the podcast gives you hope, that it makes you feel a sense of belonging and a sense of protection from your emergency services. And we want you to support them. They're out there this time of year, a very challenging time, away from their families, away from their loved ones, trying to do all that they can to keep us all safe. So in any way, shape or form, even if it's just sharing some piece of social media content, or whether it's a letter to your local ambulance station or fire station, or anything you can do to just show that appreciation, because they appreciate you as well. They really want to be there to keep you safe during this challenging time of year, not only with the COVID, but with it being winter and with it being cold, and some people are getting poorly, and all we can do is stick together, guys, okay? But it has to start with you. Everyone has the power to make a difference, never forget that. And I thank you for listening. Please stay happy, please stay healthy, stay hungry, and we look forward to seeing you soon, right here on the Firefighters Podcast.